I'd like to introduce the guest for this episode. Courtney Allyson Singleton is a graduate nursing student from Lakeview College of Nursing in Danville, Illinois. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Courtney is from the south suburbs of Chicago in Flossmoor, Illinois. Courtney is a single mother of three. Courtney is the eldest of two sisters, one a psychiatrist and the other a respiratory therapist. Courtney's future goals lean towards becoming a mental health nurse practitioner and servicing a few of many underserved communities in Chicago. She loves to spend time with her children and dogs in her free time, as well as traveling to places she has never been. As a nursing student, Courtney served as president of the Student Nurse Association of Illinois, SNI, served on student government at her nursing school, and received a Nurse Corp Scholarship. Courtney received the President's Award in September 2023 from the State of Illinois Nurses Association. Leadership has advanced her skills in critical thinking, delegation, and communication. Courtney Singleton, everyone. All right. Well, hello, Miss Courtney. Welcome to Listen Up, Future Nurse Podcast. Thank you so much for being my first guest. I'm so excited to have you here today. It's been such a long time since I've seen you for the convention, actually, for SNI, actually, when I was the keynote speaker when you reached out. So welcome and hello. How you doing today?
Great. I'm really great, honestly.
Good. Oh my gosh. So I want to jump right into some questions that I have for you. And I'm glad we were able to introduce you. And then we'll also share your bio in the show notes as well for everybody, so that they can read more about you and learn how to reach out to you.
Perfect.
So I wanted to start off actually by finding out from you what made you want to become a nurse.
Well, it started from just caring for my own family members. Like my grandmother, she had breast cancer, skin cancer, and lung cancer. My grandfather had lung cancer. My second born child was born with a medical anomaly. It's called cloaca. Pretty much skin covers the anus. So she had to have an ostomy for the first year of her life. And with that, I was not only a mom, but I was also a caretaker and had no idea how to do any of that. And so pretty much learning all of those things on my own stemmed me to want to become a nurse and help others who possibly had those same struggles.
Wow, that is quite a journey.
Yeah.
It you almost wonder with all that resilience. My God, that's just not. I think it's almost like what happens for some of us who have stories and backgrounds like that. We take that resilience, that compassion that we saw, that we felt, and maybe that inability to help as much as we could to kind of turn that into a purpose and pursue nursing. My God, I had not as many experiences, but I did have some of my own with my father. He passed when I was 6, and I saw the nurses taking care of him. My grandmother staying with us when I was, I think, in between high school and college. My mom's mom, and she had dementia, and taking care of her in the home, and nurses coming and being present and kind of helping us to learn how to care for her as well. But really, it was those couple of big experiences for me as far as caring for somebody. But wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you not only had people that were, other family members, but you had your own children. So
Right.
being a mom.
Right. It wasn't just, diapers and, play dates. It was,
Yeah.
it cannot get infected. And at that time, I'm like, well, what does that mean? What do I need
Mhm.
to do? And honestly, I didn't get many words from the nursing staff when this first happened. It was pretty much, like I said, learn as you go.
Wow.
And I was pretty much determined to make sure that eventually she wouldn't have to have an ostomy, and she did. She had a takedown after 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
What progress we have, and I'm so glad.
yeah,
I'm so glad that your mom determination, you know, kind of came in on that too, and
mhm,
just said, "Not my baby."
right, exactly,
We my baby's gonna be well. We gonna do this. We gonna get you better, and
yeah,
just be strong. So
yeah.
and then now, how does your daughter feel? This is like totally not what I was considering asking you, but how does your daughter feel about you being a nurse?
Oh my god, they supported me 110%. Like, I really didn't expect that because, it's long hours and it's no
Mhm.
sleep and,
Yeah.
you sort of miss out on some things that you wish you didn't have to, and
Hmm.
they were still very supportive, very loving, and they were my number 1 fans at graduation,
Yeah.
so
My God, and it's finally over.
yeah,
My God.
yeah,
So, again, I just want to say officially to you for your first one,
yeah.
Happy Nurses Week and Happy Nurses Month.
Thank you.
I know it has been more than not only going through all of that, we're taking care of your kids and learning to be a nurse and going through nursing school and all the things that went along with that, plus all
Mhm.
of the leadership that you got into with
Yeah.
school as well, which I
Mhm.
definitely want to jump into next, actually.
Okay.
So I wanted to know more from you with your nursing school journey. If you could tell us more about that, if you don't mind telling us like how old you were when you started nursing school, how many schools you applied to, for instance, and then like what types of programs did you apply to, and then essentially which type of school program did you get in?
So I started the journey at about 33 years
Oh,
old. And at that time, I just was doing like prereqs, and a lot of the things are very new to me. So the first class that pretty much threw me off and almost deterred me was anatomy and physiology. I went into the class, with a chip on my shoulder, I guess, as you can say. Um, and I'm like, I got this. And I didn't. So I
mm-hmm,
dropped it.
mm-hmm,
And I was so afraid, but at the same time, I was determined to go ahead and make sure that I can get to that next step. So I studied because I bought the book. I studied on my own and then picked it up the next semester and then continued. And I was in school, but I was also working. So I was taking 1 or 2 classes, pre-works at a time. So once I actually started nursing school a few years later, um, I applied to 2 nursing schools, only
mm-hmm,
2. And the first one I applied to was in, I want to say it was in Peoria, and it was attached to a hospital. Didn't really want to go there, but I applied anyway just because I want to have the option. And I also applied at Lakeview, and the reason why I looked at Lakeview was because they had the 16-month BSN program. I knew I didn't want to go to school and obtain, my anything but my bachelor's. Like, I wanted to
wow,
go for my bachelor's. I didn't wanna have a second associate's degree because I had attained one already.
good.
So, I went on ahead and went to Lakeview. I got that letter of acceptance before I ever even heard from the other school, and
Mm.
honestly, I don't think I ever heard from them. Honestly, I didn't. It was really close to around COVID, so I'm not sure what happened.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but I was accepted into Lakeview to their BSN program, and I wanted to do the 16-month program.
Mm,
But after the first semester, bills and car note, and I'm like, I
mm,
have to work, but I also wanted to be a great student at the same time. So I
mhm,
decided not to do the 16-month program, and the very next month is when I was offered a scholarship through the Nursing Corps, which paid for everything. So if
God.
I just would have stuck with it, believed in God and said, "Here,
Mhm,
got this, but I didn't. I backed out. So, it did turn into the 2-year program, but that's still fine.
Yeah.
And, it was just a blessing. Like, it just kind of all happened. I was amazed at just, the short amount of time that it actually took once I really applied myself.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't too crazy. The classes were not hard or anything like that. It was just applying yourself. Like, that
Yeah.
was the main thing. And, I also knew that I had to become involved, in different things as a Black student in my
Mm-hmm.
school because, there were not many Black students at my school. So I felt it was important for me to become involved so I can be that voice for other students.
Wow. That was so good. Okay. I gotta recap back over all of this. So at the time, in your 30s, starting
Mhm.
off in the process, already a mom during this time too. And anatomy was your one that kind of tried to take you out, but it didn't. Okay. Yeah, statistics was the one for me, and I think I was in my mid 20s, I think, starting the process, late
Mhm.
20s. Okay, so both non-traditional student, to
Mhm.
say the least, non-traditional student, and already had an associate's and
Yeah,
didn't want another one.
right.
And I understand that because I got two myself, get too many degrees. Um, and so the 16-month program that was accelerated for you then, right? Was
Yeah,
that was their accelerated program? Okay. And those are tough. There are some out there that, well, I'll say back at the time when I was looking to start do an accelerated program, there was a 12 and a half month program.
oh
Boy,
my.
your life. University Chicago. I think they have changed that now, but
Mhm.
still, 16 months is still like you don't get any breaks. I don't know if anybody has ever looked at that curriculum and that academic calendar, but
Mhm.
no breaks. You get
No,
2 days a weekend. I don't
yeah,
even think you get a week.
no, you
Um,
And
yeah.
as a parent, it's really hard. I think it's more suited for students who are fresh out of, that first year of college doing their prereqs. They have no children. They
Mhm.
live at home with mom or dad. They
Yeah.
don't have bills like that. It's more set up for that student, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think so too. I mean, there are some folks who, will make it happen, have made it happen, but ideally, I think you say probably, and I'd say too, if you can do that while you still got the support of mom and dad, and you living at home, and you don't have to worry about bills, then great. But you were blessed,
Yeah,
hallelujah. Yes, with
yeah,
getting that nurse score. Was it? Did you get the nurse score or the
yeah.
HRSA?
It's HRSA, but it's Nurse Corps. Like, they're
Okay, so
all,
you got the
like,
nurse score.
intertwined. Yeah.
Ooh wee.
And
Ooh,
it was awesome, like, I
yes.
applied for it, that first semester, and it's with the state, so it took a while,
Mm,
and, like I said, when I found out, I had already decided that I wasn't gonna go ahead and continue with the 16 months and go on with the 2-year,
mm-hmm.
but, with that, I they paid for everything, my tuition, books, um, and a stipend every month, and the stipend was $1,600 a month.
Just gonna ask that for the
Mhm.
people. Right. Yes, y'all.
Yeah.
So this is to show that although you took a step back, that step back actually really propelled you forward because
Yeah.
you took that little bit of time off,
Mhm.
applied to that scholarship, and then now you wound up having your entire program paid for,
Yeah.
plus you had a living stipend, a little something something to work with to help pay some bills at home.
Yes.
I mean, that's amazing because I think that's one of the biggest challenges for students right now is they don't have a full financial plan laid out. For not only for their tuition but also for their bills and things at home. And then it's just like they're so excited they got that acceptance letter. They're ready to get started, but everything else is not fully set up there. I know for myself, I was graced with the WIOA program,
Mhm.
which is now called WIOA actually, but it used to be called WIA. And they actually paid for my program at the city colleges for the 2 years that I was there and everything. And so, but I still was working though, I still was working as a pharmacy technician. But now, were you still working during this time with you also having this grant, or did you just go ahead and let that go?
I did not. I was working as like a tech for like a convenient care. And
Okay.
I realized that it was more important for me to be able to study as much as possible, and working just did not fit that. And I think it's interesting that you just mentioned the WIOA program because I had
Mhm.
that too. That was
You
also
just did it.
something that I had. So my travel to school was about 30 to 45 minutes each way.
Okay. Mhm.
So they would pay for travel and
Nice.
daycare.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I
Things
really
have
had
come up
no.
now.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
So since the Nurse Corps grant already paid for everything already, then WIOA did not offer for that, but they covered the other stuff you're saying with the daycare and the travel.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Fully,
that's
100%.
absolutely amazing. Boy, they have really changed some things over the years. Wow,
Mhm.
that's more than awesome. Congratulations to you on that, just the whole journey and everything. And so you went from the 16-month program to a 2 year. So then you wind up going to 24 months after all for the program after
I
all.
did, yes.
Okay, all righty. And tell us, when did you graduate?
Well, December, 15th, I walked, and then, the official graduation date was just May 3rd, so
Ooh, we fresh, hot off the press. That's part of the reason why I wanted to actually wear this white scrub top, kind of in homage of student nurses and going to clinicals and wearing white scrubs and all of
Woo.
that.
Yeah,
Being
yeah,
Student Nurses Day. Congratulations to you, not only on your
thank
graduation but recently walking as well.
you.
So that is so super exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, I want to go to a quick commercial break and then we'll come back and we'll dive into some more.
Okay.
Right. Hey, future nurses. Were you checking out this sleek white scrub top I'm wearing in today's episode? Want to know where I got it from? From Figs. And guess what? You can get your own with this sweet 15% discount by using my referral link. Just head to the Figs website with my referral link, which I'll put in the show notes, and you'll be able to find your own and complete the final steps at checkout. Trust me, you won't regret it. Figs scrubs are top notch quality and super stylish, as you know. Don't miss out on this. At checkout, you click on Students and Military, save 15%, verify with ID Me to unlock your savings and get your scrubs. All right, and we are back. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about your journey in nursing school. And more of, we talked about how you got there and what helped pay for it and everything. Um, but what I want to know now from you was, what was one of the best things about your time in nursing school?
Oh, wow, the very best thing for me, was, I guess, the friendships that I gained. I didn't really communicate too much when I first started. I went in with a one-track mind. This is me. I need to do this for me, and this is what I'm going to do. And I learned during that journey that having those friendships and those conversations with other people would propel me to learn even more and different ways of learning. And I think that's very important for any student. You go in, and of course you want to be successful, but it's very important to reach out to not just, people within your class, your instructors as well. Review those exams, see what you did wrong, find out, how you're testing, and if, it doesn't line up with the type of thinker that you are, it's very
Mm,
important to
yeah,
review those things so you can become successful because the testing does not change. That
right.
format does not change. You have to change your way of thinking. You have to change your way of studying. And if you don't, you will not be successful.
Wow. Wow. I love that. That is what I call a pill of wisdom. On here, instead of saying pearls of wisdom,
Mhm,
and since this is healthcare, I'm gonna say we dropping pills of wisdom, and that's definitely a good one.
mhm,
Um, I really love what you said about the friendships. I think that can be hard because we're used to our friends that we already know just from outside everyday life and everything we have in common. It's hard, I think, sometimes too, because even though you're all in a nursing program together, in some kind of way, for some people, it still feels like your classmate is your competition. So that's the other thing. You worry. Some people are worried about opening up to people and kind of being vulnerable. There could be some of that there for some people. If I'm the only Black person in my program, I'm the only male in my program, the Latino, whatever it is. Sometimes for people, for different reasons, no, people don't want to open up and kind of talk with people, but those friendships are big, and I think too, you're right. Learning from your classmates about their different learning styles, helping you learn your own learning styles, is definitely um, helpful and everything. And
mhm.
so I wouldn't steer, go at it alone, So we always hear that saying, it takes a village, and it really does. And it's just like, you can keep going to class and going to clinical and try to keep your head down all that time and try to be about your business. But at some point in time, you're gonna need some help from one of your colleagues, your classmates,
Yeah,
and everything.
yes, indeed. Mhm,
Yeah. And then I just want to weigh in a little bit more on that to say too, I think even in that same aspect, I think that was one of my favorite things too, was my study group. That was some of the best times. I mean, we would meet like every Sunday. We would go to Chicago State University's library, and we'd meet for hours, and
mhm.
everybody would break down those chunks of chapters and everything, and we would each teach one, because they give, oh, you got 7 chapters on this on this exam. Well, I don't have time to read 7 chapters, but
Right.
it's about, what was it, 5 of us? I think it was 5 of us. Um, I'm gonna take a chapter and a half. You're gonna take a chapter and a half, and we're gonna all teach each other and look at everybody's notes and then go from there. And that's how we made it through that thing. Because my
Yeah.
God.
Ours was pretty similar. It was 4 of us, and we would have study guides. So
Okay.
we would each complete the study guide and, thank God for Google because we would upload it to Google Docs and we would all review it, and we would come up with different ways to teach each
Mhm.
other. And,
That's
nursing school is hard, it's long hours, like I said before.
hmm
So, holding each other accountable, like, there were plenty nights I would have my girlfriend say, "I'm tired, I'm getting off." No, you're not. We have an exam. We agreed to be up until 2, so that's what we're doing.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
sleep, like, you have to push each other, and
Mhm.
it worked out in our favor
Yeah.
because, that dedication, that, constant just drilling it into each other was really helpful, and we would quiz each other. I would record videos.
Okay.
I
All
would
right.
send it to everybody, like, the day before the exam, and they could just listen to it because, some people are pretty audible when it comes to learning, so I would
Yeah.
I would come up with, like, funny sayings so they could remember things. So
Oh
we
my
all had
God.
our different ways, and, when it came down for the exam, like, you could remember those key things that you heard during that exam, like, "Oh, I remember she said it was this, and this is how you remember, your ABGs," and, we came up with so many things.
Oh my God. That
Yeah.
is so awesome. I guess we didn't have that type of stuff back then. I'm like, wait a minute, why did we do that? Wow, that's so
Mhm.
nice and so helpful.
Mhm.
I think getting together, if just getting together in person and Zoom is one thing, but then to have a recording, I think that you can listen to,
Mhm.
because for me, and I guess I'm telling my age just a little bit. So for us, when we were coming through nursing school, we had recorders, like
Okay.
that we would have, So I would record, we would record our lectures like on our recorders, for instance, and we
Mhm.
would play those back like while we're doing stuff like laundry, dishes, and stuff like that, or have it playing in the car if you had the Bluetooth kit.
Okay. I get it.
The times have changed now, because
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I think I was still somewhere between the whole cassette tape, possible CD. If you got Bluetooth type of, you had to go to, I forgot what that Circuit City or something to get that
Oh,
kit, but
goodness.
totally different times. And I knew, and that same thing, we had that same conversation when I was in my nurse practitioner program, actually, because it was some students who were a couple of generations or decades behind most of us, and they were like, "What's a tape recorder?" Oh, what's a tape recorder? Like, we all,
Uh-huh.
we just, that's just what we thought. That's what it was.
Mhm.
Wow, but that audio piece for your classmates,
Mhm.
that's so nice. But yeah,
Yeah,
all of those mnemonics, that is like life and nursing.
it
I
is.
still use that. I still use those. Like when I'm doing patient teaching sometimes and I'm talking
Mhm.
to patients and I'm in gynecology, OB-GYN. But when people come in and it's like they're like, my stomach hurts, and it's like, wait a minute now. Are we
Mhm.
talking about below the belly button or above the belly button? Because first of all, if it's above the belly button, you got to see family medicine. You come to
Mhm.
me for anything pelvic or vaginal. But
Mhm.
when they start pointing up here, I can start talking about the organs of the abdomen because I had, those acronyms or initials remembered in my mind. Like, okay,
Mhm.
so your liver is over here, your gallbladder is over here, your stomach is here, your spleen is here.
Right.
I'm able to kind of point to it on
Okay.
myself to them so that they can understand that's where that is. So if you having pain in those areas, that's the considerations of what type of condition you might be dealing with, what type of imaging they may be looking at, and who you need to see. But it's not me, okay?
Right. Not high. I get it.
But yes, so I want to roll into a little bit. You mentioned it a little bit, but I wanted to kind of find out more from you about this. Um, and that is, what was your experience being a Black pre-nursing student and then also nursing student while you were in the program?
So pre-nursing, I did that at a junior college. Like I said, I dropped the first class. Nobody reached out or anything saying everything okay, but I knew that had happened to another student that was, Caucasian, which
Mm,
was fine, no big deal. Um, Kept going through the program. After I reached my second level of anatomy and physiology, I did have a Caucasian instructor, and she was very helpful. I mean, she offered, my own little skeleton, and she's like, "You can buy this from me, and I can help you." She was very helpful. Throughout nursing school, as I said, I joined organizations because I felt that there were differences.
mhm,
And I say that to also say that it wasn't very obvious, of course,
mhm,
because, that would be another issue. But
mhm.
you were aware of the issues. Like, if a student, needed some extra help, we all did.
Right.
Sometimes they were available for other students before they were available for you. Um,
Mm,
I remember very distinctly a student, he was in the upper class. He was
mm,
failing the class, and, he went in there, talked to the teacher, came out, "I passed." I'm like, "How did how did you do that?" Like, there were things, and of course,
mm,
those things will never be mentioned, but there were definite things, and I just feel like as a Black nursing student,
wow.
you always need to set yourself up so you're not in those situations, because
Yes.
those same favors likely will not be bestowed upon you. And
Mhm.
that's just generational, and it's unfortunate, but That's why we usually have that chip on our shoulder that we're going to be great because we know we have to be great. There
Yeah.
is no option to be anything less than
Wow.
because, you probably won't have that opportunity to redeem yourself just for free. You'll have to work for whatever you want.
That's really something else. Wow. So,
Yeah.
along the journey, you still got support, but
Mhm.
you saw how other people had some additional help
Mhm.
you don't know that may or may not have been extended your way. And during that time, did you see many other students that looked like you during the pre-nursing phase, more or less compared to like the nursing student phase? So like, was it a little, was it a fewer pre-nursing students that were Black and then more Black nursing students, or was it, the opposite way around? Like, what was your experience?
For me, there were about 2 in my pre-nursing. Um, and in my starting class for nursing school, it was me and another student.
Oh, okay. So 2 and 2, so it was pretty even across the board as far as that representation. And so how many people were in your program then?
My starting class, there was about 24.
Okay.
And at that time, like when I started, I kind of felt like it was a quota thing,
Mm,
like
mm.
they had to have so many. But there was only 2 of us. And
Yeah,
throughout the program, I went to a private school, so
yeah,
throughout the program even, total, maybe at the time that I from the time I started to the time I finished, maybe 6.
yeah. Oh, you mean like the classes both after you or in between as
Mhm.
the
After
classes
me,
happen?
yep, yep,
Okay, wow.
mhm.
That is such a small percentage. But that was in where was that again? That was
Danville, Illinois.
Danville, Illinois. Okay, right.
Mhm. But we also
So,
had students from other places, like one of the students that became a really good friend of mine, she was from
mhm.
California.
Oh
So
wow.
we
And
had
came all
yeah,
the
we
way to
had
Danville,
students
Illinois to come to nursing school.
the 16 months, that was the thing that
Wow.
was really getting students from all over.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm,
Okay. That's really eye opening. I mean, I've worked with students and I hear from students who'll look at maybe neighboring states that if they can't find anything in their own particular state, they'll look at a neighboring state, for instance, or a state they have family in, or a place that they may consider moving to. But
mhm.
I've never heard of anybody traveling that far,
Yeah,
especially to come to Danville,
I
Illinois.
know.
I
Very
don't
small.
even imagine what the population is there. Like,
It's small.
wow. I just imagine, especially, somebody like myself who's from Chicago, and it's
Mhm.
like, damn, but who is
It's
it a
almost
school
like culture shock, yes.
there? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My God, my God.
Mhm,
And I think for me, funny enough, so we didn't have it wasn't well you I maybe largely used pre-nursing back
mhm,
when I was in the process. I was just taking prerequisites. And
okay.
so I didn't there weren't pre-nursing programs that were, if they were around, they were not well. You were somebody who took your prerequisites and you applied to nursing school, and that was it.
Mhm,
So, I met people who were pre med and who were pre pharmacy and pre this and pre that when we were taking all of the prereqs. And here and there, I would meet people in nursing. But for me, since I took majority of my courses, at least, well, the remainder of my courses at Chicago State University, which is predominantly Black, it's not necessarily a HBCU, but it's a predominantly black university. All the students, majority that I saw, even though other people of other ethnicities come there, were Black. So I didn't see much of a shift change there. And then in my nursing program, it was more diverse. It was some, I think majority of us were Black, and then there were Hispanic and Caucasian folks there. So I was actually blessed, thankfully, to start off at Olive Harvey College, which no longer has a nursing program, but it was one of the city colleges of Chicago. And
okay.
majority of my instructors were Black,
Okay.
and they took care of us. Okay, but they and I don't mean they let us slide nothing, but they put, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like they were like mothers, And
Mhm.
when I say to this day, I can still call some of those instructors that I had from that program. I mean, I love them dearly.
Yeah.
Um, shout out. I'm just gonna say shout out to Professor Garner, Narcissus Garner. She was my first
Mhm.
instructor for the first year. Dr. Bertha Paul, I just have to shout her out too as well, and Paula Smith too as well. So those are just a couple of the folks um, that started off with us at Olive Harvey, but after they split our program up and they ended our program in the middle of us being in nursing school. So I'm one of those. Right. I know. Your face, right? Imagine. I mean, we were like a few weeks away from starting our senior year, our second year in the program, and they they told us, yeah, so yeah, we're closing down the nursing program. And we're like, what? And they're like, oh, it's because of NCLEX pass rates. No, it's not, because we knew the senior class and they had like a 97 or 98. It was pinned up on the board.
Mhm.
No,
Mhm.
so it would no. Oh, it's then they tried to say, oh, it's accreditation. What do you mean? So back then, I knew that the school was accepted by the state, and so to me, in my mind, that's what I thought accreditation was. So I'm like,
Okay.
that's not
Mhm.
true. But it was because it was not at the time, the accreditation for that type of program was what was called NLN or NLNAC,
Okay.
which was the National League of Nursing, I think that was. Um, and so that's before we started talking about stuff like CCNE and ACEN
Mhm.
and all of that type of stuff for accreditation. But they closed the program down and they
Oh,
split my class up. And some of us went to Daly College, the others went to Malcolm X College. And only about 60% of my class graduated. When I looked at that graduation booklet, only about 60% of my class made it. Yeah, it was
okay.
very heartbreaking,
Yeah.
very heartbreaking. And it was crazy because I even knew people that were incoming freshmen to the program and they had just got their acceptance, got their job set up, got their daycare set up, got their WIA set up.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and they had to find a whole new place to go
Yeah.
weeks before their program was supposed to start. I mean, that was the most devastating hit
I can
that I know I experienced in the midst of my nursing program. Um, but I digress. But just kind of going back to that, having that experience being black though, that was definitely a shift because when we went over to Daly College was in an area that was more predominantly Hispanic and white, and so all of these black students come into the school, and we had to join and merge with the seniors. We were seniors too, but we
Right.
had to join with their seniors.
Yeah.
So it was, a culture shift, shock, we had to do some adjustments and get familiar with each other and everything like that. And we worked it all out and we graduated. But that was really something else that for them having to switch out our WIA from Olive Harvey College to Daly College and all the things that had to go with that. It was a time to be had. I'll just say that.
Like,
Um,
I wish I had that experience, having Black instructors. We had no Black instructors whatsoever. We have nobody Black on our board.
oh,
So, you're just there and
wow,
I hate to say it, like you kind of feel like you're kind of shucking and jiving to just kind of
wow,
make it because you don't have that representation at all.
wow.
And that's, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I became so involved because I'm like, I need to propel myself. And it's very apparent that I need to do that. And
Yeah.
sometimes connections can help you do that. And that's why, yep.
My God. And that's interesting that you said that about you had no black instructors. So for those who don't know, representation matters. So I'm gonna say that first. And when we look at the millions of nurses that are out there, the data shows only somewhere between 6 to 12% of nurses are Black, depending on whose resource that you use. So that's already a small percentage. Then you look at, I don't even know what that percentage is, but it's an even smaller percentage of those that actually go into higher education and actually become an instructor. But more so, even when they become an instructor, a lot of times it's an adjunct instructor. It's like a clinical instructor. It's not like somebody who teaches the actual courses. But there is a lot of academic, I don't know what word I'm really looking for, but barriers, I guess I'll say, that are put in the way for folks to kind of get tenure is the biggest challenge for a lot of instructors just in general, and even more so nursing instructors. And so for a long time, it was a lot of gatekeeping. That's the word I'm looking for. Gatekeeping when it comes to nursing in general, but nursing educators and their work. And so, you know, for a while it was, you could only have your PhD to teach. And you couldn't have, you had to have that degree. And it's just like, now, you know, you already, you know, as a Black nurse, you know, you're working, you're taking care of your life and your family. So to kind of go ahead, get your master's degree, get your PhD, that's a big sacrifice. And nursing educators and nursing, and just in general, are known to not be paid as much and compensated for their education and experience as much as they should. So floor nurses, you know, a lot of times were and still are in some places making more money than you do working as an educator. And it's just like, wow, you know, what kind of sacrifice is that to say, I'm going to step away from the bedside, take this cut financially, and teach people who are going to graduate to make more money than me.
Yes.
That's already a hard one. But they added in now for, you know, a lot more programs are now allowing for people to have a DNP in nursing to be able to teach. And then in some programs, depending on where you're at, you can have a master's to teach. So if you got a master's degree, you can at least teach one level below you. So you can teach like a Bachelor of Science program, for instance, or, you know, associate's degree programs, LPN programs. So there have been some changes there. And we do at least know we've seen some, you know, Black nurses going back and getting higher education and getting their masters and, you know, their DNPs now a lot and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, representation matters, and we need more Black nurses. We need more Black nurse educators. Yeah. So I'm going to put that on you too, Courtney. Go ahead and at least get that master so you can come on back and show your face and represent and help the next generation.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my DNP because, you know, my sister is a psychiatrist, and she would really like to serve that community of, you know, Black patients that really need psych care. So, you know, if I go ahead and do my psych nurse practitioner, then, you know, we could open a practice and hopefully start that something like that in Chicago. Yes.
So we're talking about not just going into advanced practice for you and being a psychiatric MP, but you're talking about entrepreneurship too.
Right. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Very important.
Come on now. Future nursepreneur and future nurse practitioner sitting right here. I love this. I love it. I'm doing that with family, which I absolutely love, because she would be able to, you know, do some of that work, and then you'd be able to finish the rest and just collaboratively together. I can't wait. I'm sending all my psych patients to you. Yes, come on, let's do this. Okay. I actually want to take another quick break, take a little water break, and then we'll be back in just a second, okay?
Okay.
Did you know you can apply to over 50 historically Black colleges and universities at the same time for only $20? You can with the Common Black College application. Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm the founder of the CBCA. Students around the world have completed the application and received multiple acceptance letters, financial aid packages, and scholarship offers. So visit our website at commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. And don't forget to pick up the book, Get Educated, The Man Behind the Common Black College Application. Thank you, and get educated.
You're listening to an episode of Listen Up Future Nurse Podcast. Scan the QR code if you're watching, or click the link in the podcast show notes to get your sure to tune in and subscribe on Spreaker and follow us on all your favorite podcast locations. And watch us live online on all of your favorite social media sites. Do you have ideas about who would be a great guest on this show, or perhaps you have a topic that you want discussed? Let us know. Send me an email at info@NursingInspired.com or text at 773-609-0649.
All right. See, we got to make sure to take care of ourselves too. All this chatting, I got to stay hydrated.
Yes.
So we were talking about, you mentioned something about that you were in some nursing organizations and everything. So I definitely wanted to learn from you what kind of nursing organizations that you were in, during nursing school, and if you're still in some now, and then also if you have a mentor.
So during school, I joined our school, I guess you can say, organization for students. And from there, I went to a few meetings, and they mentioned the Student Nurses Association of Illinois was having like a convention. And if we wanted to attend, we could, but they were not paying for us to go. And I was like, oh, should I go? Because I felt like being a part of that school board, I didn't feel like I had a voice really, honestly. Like I felt like I would have suggestions and, they would kind of get knocked down. So, I felt like maybe I should attend this and maybe become part of something that's even bigger. It's through the state of Illinois. So I attended. I didn't let anybody know until the last minute. And it was in Springfield. So with my school organization, I traveled myself to Springfield and I went. And at the time I was impressed. I mean, these were students, within my same caliber. These were graduate students. We had guest speakers who spoke of, furthering their education, and they were so inspiring the whole time. And at the end, we were told you can join the board today if you want. And I was afraid because you could join the board, but you had to get up and talk about yourself in front of a room of people. And, I've always been okay with that, but I also know in front of a room of people, I can be very nervous. But I felt very comfortable for some reason. I don't know. Something was like, you got this. And I went up there and I told them all about me, and I was elected to the board. And at the time I was elected second vice president. And within that same year, I became president. And I informed my school, and nothing was mentioned. Nothing. Like, I thought that it would be something that would be spread around, like, oh, we have a student who's part of an Illinois organization. Like, that's such a great thing. And no. Nope. I was just so, I was kind of hurt because I was like, wow, I did this. This is a huge thing. And, we would go to conventions and I would meet, people that we were, following online, studying, and take pictures and share those. And it was still, it was very mute. Nothing was said until probably my senior year. And it was still very hush hush even then. And, it was more so of a feat for me. Like, it was like, great, I did this because, I wasn't sharing around the school.
That is interesting and crazy all at the same time.
And Susan Swart was like my mentor during that time. Like, and she still is. Like, I talk to her a lot. Yeah.
She's so awesome.
She is. I love her.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's really amazing. And I'm glad that you have a mentor, because I was actually part of, what I wanted to know too, like, do you have a mentor and everything as well? So joined in SNA, which was also, wrapped up with your membership with SNI, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to make sure to clarify, because it's been a little bit for me since I was a part, and I just want to make sure my understanding and help the audience understand too.
Okay.
National Student Nurses Association, NSNA, is the national organization for student nurses.
Correct.
Then each state then has like a kind of umbrella, if you will, and
Mhm.
if SNI is a part of that, being Student Nurses Association of Illinois.
Correct.
Okay. And then from there, each school potentially has its own chapter that's a participating chapter.
Right. And they can. And my school did not have
Oh,
their own chapter of SNI.
so you are very large.
Right. We were just there. Ours was just school based. This was just our school's base of an organization. We were not a part of anything otherwise. And that was something that we were trying to combat, as well as the Student Nurses Association of Illinois was trying to figure out how we can get schools in Illinois involved in the association and having their own boards at each school.
Wow, that's interesting.
Ongoing.
So you know, I mentioned to you how I was at Olive Harvey at first. I actually became a part of NSNA through the OSNAC chapter at the time, which was the Olive Harvey Student Nurses Association chapter. I got voted in to be vice president under my close friend Rachel Reedus, who was nominated to be the president for the coming year. So can you imagine, we had gotten our new positions, we were slated to start, and then our program closed down.
Yeah.
So what is this? So we had to, once we went over to Daly College, we actually worked with Dr. Bertha Paul, who was one of our instructors, but she was also kind of like our advisor or whatever for for NSNA. We had to actually like create a new chapter there actually, and write the bylaws for DSNAC and everything. So not only did we have to create the new chapter, write the bylaws, but as a part of the requirement for that, we also had to become part of Student Government Association and attend those meetings as well, which was really something. And so while that was, you know, and the other challenge with that was they had a nursing club already at Daly College, and we're trying to tell them, okay, that's nice, y'all got a nursing club, you know.
Yeah.
But this is a national organization. Let's merge. Let's do this. You know, come on and join.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But what I love for you though, is that you know, you were over not only, and you moved fast too. You went from, you know, being elected and being second vice president to being president, all within a very short period of time. So for you to be, you know, essentially us as a student overseeing all of these other Student Nurse Association chapters in the state of Illinois, that is huge. And she black, y'all. I just got to say that for the record.
Yeah.
Representation matters.
Yes.
So that is so amazing that regardless of if your, you know, school didn't announce it or not, like you said, you still did that. You know, that's still something that you could put on your LinkedIn, on your resume, that you are recognized for. And can nobody take that away from you. And you led with grace. And you did an amazing job for that convention that I was able to attend and be the keynote speaker for. So thank you again for inviting me to that.
Yeah.
I had never been to convention before. So while I was a part, you know, from that like little bit of time of my last year in nursing school of being in NSNA, I never wound up going to convention. I did do things like with the school where we went both years to Student Nurse Political Action Day. I think it was back every April or something like that. But never got to attend the convention until now.
Okay.
And that was so nice to be able to see everything that you all, you know, were doing for the students and everything, and exposing them to, and just for them to kind of elevate themselves as leaders and kind of think beyond not just what I'm doing now as a nursing student, but what am I going to do beyond this, and the types of organizations that were there vendoring that they can meet, and even had some folks there from IDFPR so that they can learn about that licensure. I mean, y'all had it laid out and ready to go.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was difficult planning. And I think my goal for planning that convention was for it to be different. The one that I went to, there were, guest speakers and all of that, but it was a lot of listening, and I wanted students, and nurses to become more involved, and that's why it was planned the way it was. There was lots of Q&A. I wanted them to ask those questions because, you feel like you're going through school and you might know it all, but you don't. And, why not ask somebody who has been there, who has done that? And with the NCLEX being new, that was very important. I wanted people to ask those questions. And, I don't know if you remember, there was a woman there who had taken the older NCLEX multiple times. And she attended just to ask those questions to that panel about the new NCLEX because she was going to go ahead and put herself out there again and take it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
and having known that the NCLEX was one way all that time, and all of the study guides and books and question packs and all of the different prep sessions you went to all on one, and then now you're talking about there's a new next gen and she had to prepare for that. Lord, but I'm so glad again that you had that panel, that you were the president at the time hosting that, and that part of your vision was able to contribute to that. So you were in nursing school in your 30s, being a mom, and being the president of Student Nurses Association. That's why you won that President's Award. I was trying to tell you, my God, I'll give you an award. Oh, yeah, I'm so proud of you. I really am. So proud of you. I just want to be like, sis, I'm so proud of you, sis. Go ahead. Because now, y'all, even though she just graduated, she just walked a few days ago. She graduated in December. She is now Courtney Singleton, BSNRN. Okay, you better ask somebody.
I know, right?
Better ask somebody. Okay. So I wanted to wrap up because we are getting close to an hour now. We've been on here jamming like it's been nobody's business. So I wanted to ask you, what advice would you say that you have for pre-nursing students to be prepared, organized, and inspired for their journey to nursing school, and even while they're in nursing school as a nursing student?
I would say I don't think I need to break up pre-nursing and nursing. I think the first thing that you need before you start anything in healthcare is passion, desire, and empathy. Those are the first three things that you have to have. I would never go into this profession for the income. You have to have that passion to serve. And I think that's first and foremost. And I think you should also be very prayerful, because this is not a profession that allows for too much grace. So you have to have, God on your side in order to be able to make it through so many situations. And honestly, there were many that I prayed myself through and kept my composure because, as a Black student, that's something that you must have. You can never kind of come off any type of way except respectful. And beyond that, just always stay vigilant. Like, you always want to study all day. Partying can wait, birthday parties, some weddings, some funerals. I know my sister missed a few, but you have to do those things to propel yourself, in nursing, in any career. Actually, you have to be able to put that time in. So that's one thing that you need for sure. Another thing is ask questions. I initially was afraid to ask my teachers because I felt as if they're not my color, so they probably would not help me anyway. I felt that some of the answers that I would get were short. I don't feel that they were as detailed as other students. So I had to do a lot of learning on my own. Also be prepared for that, because you will have to do that. Nursing school is not a tell-all. You have to read. You have to do your own research. And, that's the only thing that's going to get you through. And another thing is, when you're taking these exams, realize that, exams are technically or, historically not set up for the Black student. So don't feel as if this is not for you. Find different ways to learn the material. Find different ways to study. Now there's all types of AI apps. I did use some of those to give me those select all that apply options, and those help. Like, use your technology, use whatever you can to help you get through to the next level, and never give up, because that's not an option. And just make sure that at the end of the day, you know who you are. Never forget who you are, because who you are will never change. Only thing that will change are the letters after your name.
Wow. I don't even have a response to any of that, but amazing. And that was a whole bunch of pills of wisdom. You just poured out a whole bottle. Wow. You mentioned being able to not. Sometimes you have to miss those parties and then weddings and funerals. But I did want to know from you, for yourself, what type of self-care did you do while you were in nursing school, and is there any self-care practices that you have now?
During nursing school, I would say I always kept my nails and my toes done, just because that's just been something that my mom has always done her whole life. And I just felt like that was something that this program was not going to take from me. So I would always, go and get my manicure and my pedicure.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, my self-care was my family. And I say that because my mom was always coming with words of wisdom. My sister, she's a psychiatrist. She would always help. I could call her any time of the day and say, hey, I need help, especially with mental health. She was very much influential in me passing that class. And my other sister is a respiratory therapist. So when it came to ABGs and BiPAPs and I had all the help I needed. So my family was always pushing me, like my sister is the one who told me about the scholarship. And, she's like, both sisters actually. One sister told me about WIOA. The other sister told me about the Nursing Corp. And I did both, and I got both. And they were just, always there. That was my self-care. If I felt down, if I felt like I couldn't do it, I could always call them. And it's, how much time do you have left? Okay, well, we're here. Do you have a bill that you need paid? Like, why are you saying you can't do this? It was, whatever the problem is, we can help you. And I really hope going forward, like just through my nursing journey, I can, join something that I can help somebody, like a scholarship or something, because you need that. You really, really need that to get you through.
Wow. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And for your nails, I just wanted to ask real quick, when you got your manicures, did you have you kept them short and everything? I'm imagining.
Oh, yes. No, we couldn't
your
have.
instructors ever pick at you about your nails, or your clinical instructors?
No, because, I kept them, I would get the clear coat all the time. So, we couldn't have color or anything like that.
That's what
And,
I was
of course, no long nails, germs. So my nails don't grow long anyway, but I had them done.
That's right. Yes. Do something for yourself. Okay. And so as we're ending the show, I know I've asked you quite a few things. I actually have something that I want to make sure that I do with all the shows, which is something called flip the microphone. So we're not flipping the script, but we're flipping the microphone. So I wanted to know actually from you, what question do you have for me?
Okay, so number one question is, you create this platform for, Black students, nursing students, and it's because you were inspired to do this. I just want to know that at this time, because you've been doing this for a while, what continues to inspire you to continue doing this platform?
I think for me, working in community health, working and seeing people that look like me on a regular basis, and their joy and excitement, to see a Black provider, and they're like, "Oh, you Black," or "Hey," I know that we doing well when they say, "Hey, sis."
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have never imagined being able to talk to my doctor, nurse practitioner like that, but I know that folks are comfortable, and when they're comfortable, they come back, and when they come back, they take care of their health. And with that, I mentioned representation matters a lot, but there's something called racial congruence or racial concordance that's kind of used interchangeably. People, when they see somebody that looks like them, a lot of times that makes them more comfortable with what they're doing. And so, with me knowing that I can effectively just overall affect change with Black health by having more Black nurses and Black providers out there of color to kind of be there for patients, I know that in some kind of way that can help, folks to get better. That means they're listening to those patient instructions a little bit more, because we can. I know what type. I know I go to some of them same restaurants. I pass by some. Hey, I'm here with you. So when so they're going to listen to patient instructions a little bit differently. They're going to open up about, maybe some of their drug or substance use, or their sexual history, or, family history, whatever those things are that sometimes people are ashamed or are reserved about wanting to talk about with their own healthcare. They're going to talk about it, and be more involved. So I think at its core, that is my biggest inspiration, or why that keeps me going, is because I know that Black health, we have some of the worst disparities when it comes to a lot of different areas of health. And if I can, in some kind of way, not only help the nursing shortage and make sure that there's more Black future nurses out there, just so for them to be prepared, I'm also helping Black health too.
Yeah.
So that's my why. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been an amazing, amazing time. I thank you so much for joining me for this first episode today.
Yeah.
This has been quite an experience. And so this is going to be available on Facebook and the YouTube and LinkedIn for sure. Instagram, I still got to work some things out. I got to figure that out. This is all new for me, y'all, so work with me. And then it's going to be on my NursingInspired website and on Spreaker for the time being. That will be able to be on places like iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts as well, once I have this published and there's more subscribers. So y'all make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much, Nurse Courtney.
You are so welcome
for joining me. I appreciate you.
Yes.
And I look forward to connecting with you later on, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.